Hi, this is Zanelle coming to you from Zanelle's Teacher Apple. It's that time of year again. It's time to start preparing for back to school. I know I have a lot to think about. What do I want my classroom to look like? What do I want my teaching style to be? And how do I want to set my students up for success this year? All of those entail a lot. And so when it comes to planning for back to school, there's just a few things that I like to do to make sure I start preparing before school begins. And I'm going to share those tips with you. Before you set foot in your classroom, you want to make sure you have a plan. How are you going to arrange your desk? Or are you going to introduce flexible seating this year? What will your bulletin boards look like? What will the walls of your classroom look like? How would you set up your teacher desk? Are you even going to have a teacher desk? I like to think about these things ahead of time so that I can set foundations to where I want to start in my classroom. One of the worst things you can do is to enter your classroom and not have a plan. You want to make sure you already have an idea of what you want to do. Because if not, you can go in there a little scatterbrained and you could be all over the place. And then by the end of the day, you just wasted time. I suggest planning ahead. Think about the things that you want. Make a map of what you want your classroom to look like. Map out how your desk arrangements or your flexible seating arrangements are going to look like. Think about what's going to be on your bulletin boards, what's going to be on the walls. What letters do you want highlighting your classroom? Print out the letters ahead of time. Punch out those letters ahead of time if you're punching out letters to place on the wall. Whatever you do, just make sure you already have it together so that when you enter that classroom, you already have an idea of what it's going to look like. Make changes. The beginning of the school year is a great time to make changes to your teaching style. Think about the things that worked last year. Think about the things that didn't work. Make a list. Do some reflecting. What can you do this year to make your teaching style better? What can you do this year to enhance the learning of your students? You want to think about your year before. What worked? What didn't work? When you do this helps you decide what you're going to keep, what you're going to change, and what you're going to trash. What didn't work? What can you restructure? What can you implement that's new? You want to make sure that whatever you're doing, whatever changes you're making, is to enhance your instructional practice, is to increase the knowledge of your students, so that by the end of the school year, you have something to be proud of. You want to make sure you start thinking about the changes that you're going to make within yourself so that it can exuberate. Is that a word? Exuberate? Exert? I don't know. But you know what I'm saying. You want to make sure whatever your changes are, it's reflected in your students' learning. You want to make sure that you are preparing for the first day of school. Yes, we want our classrooms to be perfect, but at the end of the day, if it's not perfect, you need to start planning for that first day of school. As a newer teacher, I used to have this mindset that my classroom needed to be perfect before I could start thinking about the first day of school. This is a terrible mindset. I recently had to change it in the last few years. My classroom is not perfect before I start planning for the first day of school. Yes, my classroom is together and I have a plan for it, but I need to also start planning and preparing for the first day of school. Because if I think about my classroom and getting all of that together before I start thinking about the first day of school, then I'm going to run out of time. And then on the first day of school, I'm going to be all over the place. Or you might be planning for the first day of school the day before, the night before. And you don't want to do that. That's stressful. So make a plan for the first day of school while you are preparing your classroom, while you're getting your classroom together. Make those copies. Think about those icebreakers. Think about those routines that you want to set in place and start implementing on the first day of school. yes, there's going to be classroom routines that you have that you want to go over. Think about what you did last year, what you're going to do this year. Also, make sure you overplan your activities so that you don't run out of things for your students to do. It's always better to overplan than underplan. Make sure you go over those procedures, those routines, those put those management systems in place. And also, your school's going to have management systems, so make sure that you are aware of those as well and that you can implement those into your first day of school. Just have fun. We need to remember that our students, they're still kids and they're coming off of the summer. So they aren't in that mindset of starting school yet. And yes, it's our job to get them there. But at the same time, you don't need to stress yourself out about it. Make it fun. Make it rewarding. You just want to make sure you start the beginning of the year with a lot of energy, with a lot of excitement. The students, yeah, they're coming off of the summer and they're not that excited to start back to school. So you need to be that excitement for them. You need to exert your energy onto them to get them excited about learning again. So don't stress yourself out. Don't stress your students out. It's a new year. It's a new beginning. And you can show up however you want. So you want to show up as the best version of yourself. Those are all the tips I have for you today. Comment down below. Share your ideas. What are some things that you do to prepare for the first day of school? Do you start preparing a week before school starts? Do you start preparing a month before school starts? Just share your ideas. We would love to hear from you. From my teacher apples to yours, have a blessed day.